Too many options. All right, everybody, welcome back to Aligning with Success. I'm your host, as always, Mike DiMuccio. It is November 20th. Every time I look at this and say the date, it just shocks me. It's like, what? November?
Almost Christmas, almost
20th?
Christmas. I know.
Wow. Well, this year I remember, gosh, I remember having meetings with Niken to discuss what eventually became your powerhouse in November of last year. I can't believe it's been a year already. Wow. All right. Well, the question that was asked before we hit the record button was, how was the event in Montreal a success? First, before you start, Leo, let me tell you a point of view. So this is the first time we combined a live event with a Zoom event put on by Niken corporately on a national level. So I know we've talked about it, and I wanted to do it. We just never thought to do it. And then when Leo and I decided to do the date for when we did it, it was a good idea to just let's combine it and we'll make it a real event. And then I decided let's throw in some lunch so that the consultants who come for the SEIKOKAI at least have some food. It's going to be a long day, and then we can make it a little bit more social and whatnot. Well, it was fantastic from all points of view. And what was interesting was being in the audience, sitting in the audience at one of the round tables while the meeting was going on, while the SEIKOKAI was going on. What a totally different perspective it is than sitting in front of your laptop by yourself watching it. Completely different. As a consultant who had a room of people, you're aware of what they're hearing. So you're hearing it and you're hearing what they're hearing. I don't know if that makes sense, but you're hearing it. It's like being a bee. It's like being a bee, and you want your A to say things, and then your A says things that you didn't even expect they were going to say, that's even better than you imagined. And then you're thinking, what do you think your prospect's hearing? So you've got all of those dynamics happening simultaneously. So that's what it was like for me. It was like sitting in that room, listening to an amazing, the presentation, what the theme of the event was brilliant. That was just a fantastic theme, community, and how everybody integrated that into perspective. There was some redundancy, but you never know who heard what when. But what I found from being the person in the audience with a room of people, there was such a great experience for them and for me hearing it that way, that I think, in fact, one of the people I was listening to just on Leo's call said they've been on SEIKOKAIs before, but they never really listened in the way they did this time. They really tuned right in. So it didn't take away from the meeting. It actually added to the meeting quite amazingly. So I would like to encourage all of you to consider planning an event around SEIKOKAI as your main event for the month. And it may be at this point the only event that you got going on in the month. But if you made that decision right now, and then you started working backwards, what do I need to do? What do I need to prepare? Who would I invite? And now that becomes your main event for the month of, I guess, what's the date in December?
16.
December 16. Okay. So now you have a date with destiny. You can plan for that event. Your content is already going to be prepared. And then, of course, you can add to that, which we did. And you can make an event of it. And Leo sold tickets. So it was a ticketed event, which is even better. So there was all kinds of opportunities to create a special feel. And it absolutely did that. I know there were even prospects I wasn't expecting prospects in the SEIKOKAI. I was expecting the prospects at the event we did following the SEIKOKAI, which was from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. But we had prospects at both. Anyway, I thought it was a great way to make SEIKOKAI come to life and serve a business purpose for helping to grow the community, especially since the topic was all about community. And I think it related to people in a very different and unique way. So that was my point of view. And then I did a presentation from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, which I have to admit, when I reported on it to my family, I said, I think I did the best law of attraction presentation I've ever done. And I don't know why it was what it was, but it was on another level. And I'm going to do it again. So I'm
Probably because of the theme, the theme of the whole event. And then you've been sharing more about your daughter and what all she's doing. So I think there's a little bit of an influence there too, Mike.
Well, I don't know. All I know is I had several presentations that I'd put together. The first original law of attraction that I did in Mexico, they're all labeled Law of Attraction Mexico. And that's the one, that's the first slide that you saw here. I'll share that slide in case you came in late. So that's this one here. That was me on stage at a huge theater in downtown Mexico City where they show The Lion King. And I put this presentation together for that event. We had over 800 people in attendance. So that presentation combined with, I had elements of it and elements of other stuff from the SEIKOKAIs and the master days that I did and my 3 keys to success that I did in France. Anyway, I just thought to put some stuff together Friday for the Saturday event, brush up a little bit and maybe combine some things. And however it was, that combination of things and that refresher as I was thinking through what the storyline, it just came across in a way that I'm just really, really pleased. And we just got off a call with Leo's team, and I didn't get a chance to speak because everybody was talking about it. So, Leo, what do you think? How was the event for you?
So, thank you so much, Mike, for this event, because I know it's not easy for you because English, French, English, it's not easy, but I'm living in Quebec. I'm sorry, guys.
No apologies necessary.
It's okay. So, but you had this meeting just earlier tonight with Marie-Christine. She had 3 guests, and all the 3 guests is so wow. So only $25 for that lunch include. I can pay for $1,000 for that meeting. You see, it's my turn. For me, it's the first time I always on the SEIKOKAI, always, but alone with my laptop, okay? And no more French people to come to because they don't understand it really. But for this time, it's a close 20 people with me to see the SEIKOKAI. And Marie-Christine, that's what you say. She first time she listened really the SEIKOKAI because she don't have a choice to sit there. But anyhow, she just put it and she walked, you know what I mean? And same for me. But now, and that's the first part with the lunch. Thank you, Mike. But the second part, geez, I always say to my groups, Mike, you have a good trainer for the law of attraction and Bob Proctor. But really, this Saturday, Mike, you got it, and I don't have a problem to sleep. I have too more spin on my head about my decision for next year. It's your fault. I commit. It's your fault, Mike. But don't miss that. If you Mike, he did it again. He's come back to January. I just want to ask you, Mike, when the SEIKOKAI in January, you have a date?
You know what? I don't have a date. Maybe
Third
we should.
Saturday.
Third Saturday, third.
It's the third Saturday.
I just
So
want to
maybe that's the date that we should do then. Yeah, that would be the 20th.
20.
Oh shoot, the 20th is my girlfriend's birthday. Well, maybe we can make a Montreal event out of it.
That's what we do last year. Remember, you invite me to the restaurant for a big, nice restaurant to Montreal. So don't miss it. Thank you, Mike, so much because I take a lot of notes for this Saturday. And my group is so excited. And you know what? I have 7 different lanes when I'm back on the stage, and I look, and all the 7 so excited to make another step on business, you see? And my next big event to April with Luis Casuga and Mike, of course, is a gala with a big party, Gala des Étoiles. And that's what I said to my group. I want to be diamond for this gala. Who you want to be, silver, gold, or platinum? That's what I asked tonight. When you finish, I continue the meeting. Who's ready to be gold or platinum for the before March? And don't say no. Remember what Mike to say last Saturday. Just Visola, do you want a dark house or sky? How would you say sky?
Skyscraper.
Skyscraper or dugout. Me, I look for the first Royal Diamond in Quebec. I don't want nobody to want to just dugout. Just what do you want? Thank you so much, Mike. Again, it's a very, very, very inspired meeting this Saturday. Thank you, and I can't wait for the. Just take me to the tomorrow for if you okay for 20. We're gonna mix with the SEIKOKAI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do. It reminds me of what excited me so much about being on stage with Bob Proctor or having him as a guest at any of our events. It turned the event from, oh, that's nice, to holy smokes. It's another dimension when you start talking to people about things that are so Bob would always say, just remind people who they are, tell people about themselves. And of course, when you speak of the law of attraction, and in the way I speak it, I took some liberties. I took some real leaps because I make no bones about my association with and my belief in a creator, and how some people refer to that as source or universal energy and whatever they use, ambiguous terms because it can incite so much whatever emotion. But I want it to incite emotion. I want people to feel in the core of their bones and their cells the truth of what's being spoken, and it felt so real to me. I mean, I'm doing the presentation, but it felt like I was on a truth bomb. There was stuff coming through me that was really laser focused and clear as clear can be. And it was very much an acknowledgement to the creator speaking. Anyway, I was really pleased with how it came out, and judging from the reaction of the people. And Leo sent me text messages as well. I was reading all the text messages, and it's like, wow, okay, something was different, because I don't normally get that kind of a reaction. I get a good reaction, but not that kind of reaction. So I was right in my sense. And so why am I bringing that up? Well, I think that it's important to add value when you do an event, to add some value where people feel that they got much more out of it than they were expecting. And I don't expect anybody or anybody for that matter, to be able to do what I do on stage, having spent so much time doing what I do, and being basically Bob Proctor's shadow for so long and working with him on stage. That's a hard act to follow. But every one of us has had a little glimpse of that story. Maybe there's a favorite book that really inspired you, really resonated with you. I challenge you to maybe do 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 slides. Think that act like maybe you're invited to an event, a special Nikan event or a big event, and they're saying, hey, we'd like you to do a 15-minute slot. And one of the events that I did in Toronto, which is one of my PowerPoints, is called My 3 Keys to Success. I was asked in Paris to to do, what's your 3 keys to success? And mine's never changed. My topics focused aside, do it. That's always been a thing. But I thought, okay, you know what? That's such a brief and very poignant thing to ask somebody to speak about, because you only have to think about 3 very specific things. What are your 3 keys? Of all the things you've learned, what are your 3 keys? Leo was even a presenter, and it doesn't even matter if they repeat, if they duplicate, because it's what are your 3 keys? So that might be a topic for you to consider doing. And I'll tell you something. I know when it's you doing you, it's going to be fantastic, because you can relate to the subject material, because you're creating the subject material from your own personal experience. So that would be something to ask yourself. If I was going to do a slide presentation that was a focus on what are my 3 keys? What are the 3 of all the things I've learned? What are the 3 keys to success? Maybe in Nikken, but it could be broader than that. But really, what are those 3 keys? Then you have an added conversation to add to a static meeting. That's, oh, here's the products, here's the this. I mean, we do great meetings and all that, but this is different. This is something that somebody can take from, and be enriched by and empowered by. And I tell you, nothing will get a better response to a Nikken meeting than when you fuel someone's sense of purpose and passion, who they are, what they're capable of, what they really want out of life, and how to attain it in general terms, not, just specifically Nikken. And that's why it worked so well for me and Bob over the years. Bob would do Bob, and then he would bring me up to do Nikken, and then he would wrap it all up. So he would do all, what it takes to be the best version of yourself in the spiritual and metaphysical sense. And then he would bring me up and say, regardless of what you want, you're going to need a way to get there, a vehicle that is in alignment with all these principles. And he says, I found one, and he would bring me up, and I would do Nikken and connect the dots for people as to how Nikken is a fulfillment, a plan to fulfill, or a path to fulfill your potential, because it's not limited. It perfectly aligns with everything he teaches. And then he would wrap it all up at the end and just basically close people on their potential, on themselves. People would leave that meeting so high as a kite. And I remember he used to always say, you can call my office and you can hire me if you can get me. And you're going to pay, you go ahead, I challenge you, call my office. You're going to pay $10,000 to $15,000 an hour for my time. But if you join Nikken and you join our calls, I'll teach you for free. So what a great thing to add to our repertoire, if you will. The mind pillar is a big pillar, right? It's what drives all behavior. And it's what creates all results at the end of the day, if you have the right attitude. So to have a piece that you do based on your personal experience, if you're not somebody who knows how to do a PowerPoint presentation, how to actually, turn the computer on and create a PowerPoint presentation, get somebody to help you. You need to up your game. You need to become a professional. And I'm not asking you to be a professional speaker. I'm saying this is value added, but you're going to get more out of it. Oh, it was interesting. So one of the gals that was at the presentation on Saturday, Marie-Christine, she's a massage therapist. And I know one of you in the SEIKOKAI was talking about being a massage therapist coming from that world. So she really identified with that point. Anyway, she was so high after that presentation on Saturday that the next day she had a massage. And she asked the person, can I talk to you about something? It's really important. I want to talk to you about. And she said, and he said, sure. And so they figured out how much time. She said, do you have more time? Like, do you have to, they had an hour-long massage, I think, or 90-minute massage. And do you have more time? Like, when he says, yeah, I don't have to be anywhere until 5. So she says, well, it's not gonna be that long, but I'd like to talk about something. She said, you know how long I talked to this guy? 2 hours before they'd started the massage. And he was so excited. And then I said to her, well, I mean, she was talking about all the stuff that we talked about Saturday. And I said to her, you know, what's interesting is that you learn more when you teach somebody else. And she says, as a matter of fact, that's what he said. He says, now you can become a teacher. And yeah. And so when you do that yourself, when you talk about these things yourself, it's when it really becomes part of your makeup. It's really when it becomes, you're really understand something at a more profound level, is when you become the teacher of that something. And so I want to see you guys get as excited about talking about something as I do when I talk about the law of attraction. That's my favorite thing to talk about. And if you do that in the context of a Nikken meeting, well, that meeting is going to roar. I mean, that people are going to really get excited about the meeting. You know, as Leo said, they're saying, you know, I would have paid $1,000 for that. $25, that's crazy. When have you ever had somebody leave a meeting and say, I would have paid $1,000 to be at that meeting? So that's what I'm saying. There's ways to add value. And I think the best way to add value is for you to connect with something that really means something to you. And if you want to create, you know, like the parentheses, I think my 3 keys to success are a great topic, because it really narrows down what you want to talk about. And, you know, make a point, tell a story. So make a point, tell a story. Do that 3 times and you got a hell of a talk that I think will really inspire people. And the fact that they came to a Nikken meeting and got that is going to really uplift the Nikken feeling and the Nikken conversation. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there because, like I said, I had such a great time with it, and was very animated, felt really on fire to be able to talk about stuff like that. So speaking of SEIKOKAI, I want to congratulate everybody who did it. It was really, really well done. I thought like I said, the topic of community, that really rang. One of the things I think I talked about some calls ago was the 2 key things that are necessary in order for a business to grow. And one of them was that community, the feeling of belonging, filling a belonging need. And so that's why people stay. People come for the opportunity and they stay for the people. So again, a greater reason to start up a local meeting. Start thinking in those terms, because then what you're going to start asking yourself is, well, okay, who can I get to help me? Who's going to want to help me? And so now your mind starts solving the problem. Your subconscious mind is always looking to solve the problem, whatever problem you give it. If you're giving it worry, then you're basically in a dress rehearsal for something that you don't want to happen. So I would give it instead a challenge, which is then something that it's going to try and solve. It's going to be working 24/7, even when you're asleep, trying to solve the problem, which is, who am I going to do this meeting with? Where am I going to have it? When am I going to have it? All those questions start to come down and filter in. And then lo and behold, you're going to start getting some answers. And then the next thing we know, we're going to have wellness previews popping up all over the place again. And then when we do a SEIKOKAI and you co-host your event with a live SEIKOKAI, now what you have is a real event, a real monthly event where 2 hours of that event is programmed. And you got, you know, what a great experience for people to come in to an event and hear presenters from across North America and know I'm plugged into an event across North America. I'm listening to the CEO of the company and some of the leaders and recognition and so forth. I tell you, people don't get that on a daily basis. Prospects don't experience that on a daily basis. So it creates an awareness, an impression, and an awareness that Nikken is a going concern. Even though you may be in a small meeting room with a handful of people, with some hors d'oeuvres or coffee or whatever, the feeling is you're part of a bigger community. This little community contributes to the whole. It's a very different dynamic than you sitting behind a computer. I'm telling you. So let's not let the next SEIKOKAI, December 6th, 16th, go to waste. Let's utilize it. Let's leverage it to create an event, a live event. Now you might say, oh, it's December, it's the 16th. People want to go shopping and da 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 da. Well, we have a reason to shop at Nikken. So another reason to do it, not to do it. Speaking of which, did you guys see that Black Friday special? Buy one, get one for half price.
No, not yet.
Yeah, buy one, get one half price. So I shared the
Anything?
information
On anything or on certain items?
on certain items, what the big ticket items. So air unit, the pad, the seat, the precision, like a bunch of the stuff. And so just an FYI, I know this video won't serve somebody after is it the 30th that it goes until the 30th, right? November 30th. So it's from now till November 30th. If you log in to back office and go shop now, then look for the specials. It's under the category of specials. What's the actual category name? Is it specials? Product specials?
Special offers.
There it is, special offers. Go to special offers in the drop down, click Black Friday. That'll open the page and you can scroll and you'll see all the items priced for Black Friday. Of course, in the US, you'll have the US price. In Canada, you may have to select the Canadian flag to toggle the prices to Canadian. Now, if you then click on the URL at the top of the page and copy it, you can share that URL with anybody. I did it on my Facebook. If you go to my Facebook, you'll see I took the video. Let me just go through this exercise with you guys, because I do stuff that I don't know if you guys do it. So when something's posted on our WhatsApp, so you see this one that Jeff posted on our WhatsApp today? I mean, you don't see anything except an arrow, but when you click that arrow, it's the video, right? Okay. Now, that video is in my photos. If you don't have it in your photos, you can pull it into your photos by holding it down, and the pop-up menu comes up. And then you can, oh, I guess it's not that. Wait. Okay. Play it. And while it's playing, there's an arrow button down at the bottom here. And that arrow button, click it, and then it gives you the option to save it. So you save it. So now I have the video in my photos on my phone. Okay. So I'm going to go to photos. Wait a second. Let's get to the current. Current photos. Here we go. Okay, so I have it on my phone, and where are you? Today. There we go. So it's now on my phone in my photos. Okay, so it's there. Now, what do I do with it? I have the photo in my photos is the video. What do I do with it? Well, go to shop, go to the URL, copy the URL. So now I've got in my copy, paste, copy the URL to promote my page for Black Friday. I have the video in photos. Now all I have to do is go to Facebook, which is what I did. I opened up Facebook, clicked on my picture at the top, clicked add to story or whatever you want to do. In this case, what I did was here, let me pin myself so you can see this large pin. Okay. So what I did was I wrote, buy one, get one free at half price. Check out the incredible offers until November 30th. And then there you see below it, whoops, didn't mean to do that. below it is a link. If you click on that link, it's going to go to the page. But then what you do is you add the video, just like you would add a photo. In this case, I just added the video. And so now the video is there on my Facebook. I added the video into Instagram as well. But if I click on this, here, let's get this link up close there. If I click on this, where does it go? It goes to my page. And these are all the items Black Friday that somebody can shop. So there's a simple thing that you can learn to do with the information that Niken is publishing and put it to use. So I did the same thing on Instagram. I posted the video and then I put link in bio. So I went to my bio in Facebook, or excuse me, in Instagram, and I added the link because it was still in my copy. So now if you go to my Instagram, putting up Instagram, and you go to my Instagram. Can I go to my Instagram? How do I go to my Instagram? Is it here? Nope. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. So now I go to my profile. There's my Instagram. There is my latest entry, which is the video right there. So if I click on that, it's going to play the video. So everybody following me on Instagram is seeing that. And in the bio, I should pin this. Pin. In my bio, let's see. In my profile, here you see it says Facebook profile and 2 other links. I don't know if that's written backwards for you, but it is for me, where the arrow button is right now. So if I click on that, up comes the links, and you see Black Friday specials is the link that I labeled it as, and there's the link. So if you click on that, it takes you to the page. So there you go. A simple way to promote what's going on in Niken. Karen.
I just want to mention that there's also free shipping on everything.
On everything.
Except auto ship, except Yes My Wellness Home, and except Build My Wellness Home. But all the products are included.
Cool. Again.
No, there isn't a limitation or a requirement?
No,
Wow.
Oh, I was thinking that was just for the Black Friday specials. Oh, you checked it out, huh, Karen? Great.
yep, I just ordered a waterfall for a customer and it was free shipping. And that's not one of the specials.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
That is awesome. I have a question, Mike. The URL you are copying, that is when you go to the Black Friday shop now and you see it from your website.
When I'm logged in. So I go into my back office. I don't go to my PWP from the front. I go to my back office,
And then go over.
shop now, and then go as if I'm shopping. Now, I clarified that because I'm like, wait a second, if I'm copying the URL from my back office as I'm logged in, is that not going to show the prices at my price?
Oh.
And Frank said, when you publish that, if a person is not logged in, they're going to see the retail prices. And of course, prospect is not going to be logged in. They don't have a login credential.
Okay, that kind of messes up my brain. Oh,
It does, doesn't it? I would have thought just go to the PWP and select it, right? I haven't tried that. It may be that simple. I would test it before announcing it, but it may be go to your PWP, get to the specials link Black Friday, and see if that URL is in fact not the same URL. It may be. But the fact that we can actually copy the URL and post it and it delivers them to our custom website, that's amazing. If you remember the old version, you couldn't do that. You had to create all these back doors. So
Yeah.
I
good.
do remember it used to ask you, and it would ask the people to log in. Of course, they didn't have a login, and
Right.
yeah, that's great.
Flex. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So how do we take advantage of these next 10 days to really muster up some Black Friday sales? I mean, this is it. Take the cobwebs off the phone, get busy, get calling people, say, I don't know if it's good if you put it on your Facebook, if you can do that, because then you can say, did you see my Facebook? No. Oh my God. And then you can just go into it. Of course, you can always WhatsApp or text message your URL. Once you have your URL, you can share it. And so that's really what you want to do, is you want to let people know these prices are limited time only, and it is Christmas time shopping. Now, if people are going to shop, they're doing it now. They're not waiting until, because stuff has to get delivered. So this is the time to really start planning out if you're doing some shopping, plan out your shopping. Mrs. Kramer, do you have something? Oh, you're cutting out. Say again.
I said, you can also put your link on Telegram.
On
On your
Telegram.
Telegram.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. Every way that you communicate, definitely. By the way, let me go ahead.
Of my link, and it has my ID on it. It says the very last part of the URL says alias, and then it shows my ID. I tested it, of course, but you can, test it like that.
Yeah, and maybe I did, by the way, post mine as an example on the WhatsApp chat. So, no, mine doesn't. Well, maybe it does. I don't know. Open link. Let's just see if it does that. So maybe I'm getting an echo. So I don't see mine. I don't see the ID. So I don't know how it works, but it works. So
I did mine
okay, good.
on Facebook.
Good. So that's a great exercise you can do tonight. That way, at least let your Facebook audience know. And by the way, don't just post once. Put it in your story. By the way, just an FYI, stories are viewed more than posts. Am I the only one hearing an echo? Okay, Mrs. Kramer, it's you. It's your line that's causing the echo. There we go. Okay, so remember, stories get more traction than posts. So to go to a story on Facebook, you click on the circle. So right now you see a circle and a square picture. If you click on the story, you can add to the story. Or you can just say, we're right there where it says add to story. So you can add to your story. And then what it does is it brings up your camera roll. And so select the video from the camera roll, which it's doing right now. Share it. I forgot to add some things. I was going to add some text. Oops. Anyway, you can add some texts. I'll do that when I can focus. Okay. So that's that. We know we're going to do an event for December 16th, SEIKOKAI. Combine that as a live event, in-home, hors d'oeuvres, whatever. Make an event of it. It really does make a difference. 2, you're going to promote the next 10 days using your social media and every media method you have, your link to the Black Friday specials, and let people know how great an opportunity that is to shop for Christmas. And Boss. Some of you are going to Boss. Okay. So that's coming up pretty quick. I I guess we just have to wait until we're there, and we'll have news when we get back. But I can tell you this, 2024, the foundation for 2024 has been laid. There's not going to be so much coming out of Boss that you're going to be caught flat-footed. The thing that makes 2024 extremely special is that 20% we accelerator bonus, as I've been saying. Speaking of which, the accelerator bonus applies to all products. So that goes without saying that what you promote this week with the Black Friday and what your team promotes who enroll, that counts too. So I think Niken's putting so much on the table because they want to motivate and inspire us into action. And maybe I can borrow in the last few minutes here, I can borrow a page from my training on Saturday. Leave you with this thought. It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to go where I want it to go. Let's try that again. There. Okay, there we go. So what we know is that there's a proper way to utilize our mind, our thoughts, our actions. Of course, understanding is what makes the impossible possible. Let me give an example of what I mean by that. It would have been considered a miracle at some point in time in our history to put a rocket in space. At some point in time, the word they would have used was miracle. If they would have seen a satellite overhead and recognized that it was man-made, they would have called it a miracle. Today, we don't call it that. It's simply the application of understanding. So miracles, that's a word that we invented to describe the effects of an unknown cause. But when we understand the cause, it's no longer a miracle, it's merely an effect. So, as in the physics of putting a rocket in space and many, many other things that have been studied, we now have greater understanding of how things work. And therefore, the mystery becomes less a mystery and more just an application. Well, when it comes to applying ourselves in our business, it's very easy to be led by the effects rather than by the inner expression, the inner identity. The equation I plus M equals R, where I is R, I could be identity. I know we say it's intention plus mechanism equals results, but the truth is it's identity equals results. What you identify with, who you identify yourself as, is what you ultimately manifest. And this book, which was actually handed to me by Bob Proctor, is called The Power of Awareness. And it is everything I teach. It's everything the law of attraction teaches. A better name for the law of attraction would be the law of assumption. What you assume is, when you consider an assumption, means you're embracing, embodying a thing. So you are holding on to some identity, an identification of some kind. The more real you identify with success, the more real that your identification with an achievement, an accomplishment, the more vivid that identification is. the more you attach to that identification. I know it's a future point in your timeline, but you've got to make it as though it is a present point. In other words, you've got to describe it as though you're describing the actual thing, not what the thing is going to be, but it's as if you're looking at it or are it. You're looking in a mirror. The clearer your identification with that thing is, the more likely you're going to manifest that thing sooner. The speed of manifestation is a function of how well you embrace and imbue the dynamics of that thing. Let me repeat that. The speed at which you manifest something is in direct relation to how well you identify or imbue that ideal, that idea. That is what we know. We know that there is, in fact, a speed of manifestation, and it's augmented by the depth of your conviction to that identity, to that intention. So how we get from here to there in the absence of physical evidence? How do we get from where I am now to that thing in the future without the physical evidence of it? The answer is faith. Faith is a condition of the mind. It is a condition of the heart, and it is a condition of your actions. I'll give an example of that. I plant a seed underground. A demonstration of faith would be, I water the soil. If I stop watering the soil to dig up the ground to be sure that the seed is germinating, I will destroy the seed. That would be the action of doubt. Faith is I keep watering the soil, even though I don't see anything. I understand there is a mechanism at work. It's implied, it's creation, but it's not my domain. Most people need to think, I need to know how something is going to come to be. You will never know how anything is going to come to be until it has come to be. You will never know how anything has come to be until it has come to be, because only then can you actually look back upon it and see all the serendipitous things that took place that made it possible. So wondering how is irrelevant. It doesn't add to the equation. And it's in the domain of the unknown. It's in the underground, the soil. It's under the soil. It's in the darkness of that. So that mechanism, which is unbeknownst to us, exists, but it's not known to us. And it's allowed to be that way because it's not needed to be known in order for it to do its thing. What you must do is continue to have faith and operate as though it's impossible to fail, because it is impossible to fail. These are absolute laws. The moment you change your thoughts about it, you're just changing the outcome, the effect. So if you want to experience the effect, the result, then the only part of the equation you have to stay in charge of and use your willpower for is staying focused on the identity, maintaining your connection to and your feelings about that identity. So let's say the identity is, I don't know, a rank, a new rank in Nikken on a certain date. Speak of that date as though that date is in the present time. Speak of that rank as though it is a fact, not a future fact, but a fact in the present tense. And just start to imbue everything, all manner of identification with that idea. So for instance, if I want to accelerate my ability to become a royal diamond in rank, the best thing I could do, one of the fastest ways to shorten the time it will take for me to manifest this is to hang out with diamonds and royal diamonds, particularly. Because I will then begin to identify with the way they think, the way they talk, the way they act. As I embrace that, in my own unique way, but the core essence of what they are, the energy with which they conduct themselves. As I begin to align myself with that and become that, then I will begin to attract all the things that are necessary in order for my world, my physical reality, to support that. That is how the law works. So we've got to become conscious creators. We've got to be aware of what we're thinking and feeling. And we need to be thinking, feeling, and acting consistently in alignment with the singular identity that we're trying to manifest. You can't be bouncing around, which means you can't let your emotions get out of hand. You can't be ruled by your emotions. You can't let outer circumstances cause you confusion. The physical evidence may not appear for a period of time. And that period of time is called the law of gender or the law of gestation. We know it's a law. That's the part that's happening under the soil that you can't see for the period of time that it needs in order for it to do what it does before the sprout, the first sprout appears. You need to be operating in faith during that period of time, during that dark window. But if you lose your identity in the process, it's like digging up the seed. So that's the real mystery, which is not so much a mystery. It's simply the way this thing works. And if you're really good at it, if you've had practice at it to the point where you almost don't need any faith. Faith is kind of like for the people who still don't quite have full understanding and appreciation that it's a law. When you have full understanding and appreciation that it's a law, you never second guess it. You know, you trust that the matrix that we live in, that was created by an infinite mind, operates the way it operates. It doesn't change for you. It doesn't change for anybody. It just is what it is. And it's best we know how to utilize it, because we're utilizing it consciously and unconsciously. And for most people, it's unconscious. You get emotional about stuff. You let your emotions control your thoughts. And now, what are you identifying with? Is what you are creating. Anger, frustration, anxiety. Those are all the negative side of creation. Creation is a law. It doesn't matter which way you go, positive or negative. It will take whatever it is that you're putting in. Input creates output. So the input needs to stay positive. Thoughts, what you're thinking, what you're imagining in your mind as the reality, how you emotionalize that reality. Do you get excited about it? How you conduct yourself as though that reality already exists. Now, how does this show up? Let's take an example. I meet a prospect. Am I meeting that prospect as a person who's hoping and wishing and praying that that prospect is going to A, B, C, or D? Or am I meeting that prospect eye to eye, and I'm completely unattached to the outcome of where that prospect goes? My job is very clear. Communicate, provide solutions, and irrespective of what they decide, that doesn't change the outcome of what I expect myself to experience. In other words, my intentions, my emotions, my behavior is not subject to the outside world. It is a condition of the inside world, and the outside world must reflect it by law. Again, during that period of time that we have to go through in the darkness of that seed germinating. So get really, really clear on what you want. Do everything you can to image it or to imagine it. Same word, same idea. You image it, you imagine it. and then you imbue it with as many properties as you possibly can, giving it as much attention and emotion as though it were real. Now, here's the interesting thing. What would be the emotion? I used to do this exercise with my kids. Let me switch over here to just me. I used to do this exercise with my kids when it came to their grades, when they had to do an exam. So I would say, okay, we do the imagining. What's the score? They'd write it down. So they have the score. They know what the score is. They know what they're getting. Okay. And then I would take them through an exercise and I'd say, okay, you just turned on your computer the day after the exam. You went to the report and you see your score. It's the score you wrote down. How do you feel? And I would get them in touch with their feeling. Whatever that feeling is, that's the feeling. I'd say, okay, from now until that day, that's the feeling you have to have. On the weekend, I suggested, you have a favorite car that you want to get, you want to drive, you want to buy, go to the dealership and drive it. Figure out who's got it, go out there, drive that car. You need to feel the feeling. As much as you can feel the feeling and connect with the feeling, because the feeling is what you have to lock in on. The thought conjures up the feeling, but you want to really get really good with this identification. The better you can identify with that thought and that feeling, the more likely you're going to accelerate its manifestation, because you now know what it is. It's not a speculation. Speculation is like a bandwidth. It's like, oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. It's not clear to the universe what it is. But the more sharp the image is, the more sharp the feeling is, the faster you can manifest the experience. So that's what I would focus on with attention to whatever I want. Get really, really clear that it's not about whether you're worthy. It doesn't count. That doesn't factor in. It's how do you feel being that person? That's the emotion you want to get in touch with. You've made that achievement. You've set the goal, you've achieved the goal. What is the feeling? The feeling is usually relief, by the way. That's usually the feeling. It's like a relief. That's the real feeling. So imagine you conducted yourself meeting your new prospect tomorrow with that relief. What's the energy that prospect gets? Yeah. Openness, assuredness, confidence. It's like, oh, whatever this guy's into, give me some of that, please. That's why it works, because the feeling you're emoting is a harmony and it causes a reaction. And if you're feeling doubt, the reaction is doubt. If you're feeling anxiety, the reaction is anxiety. And so if they don't act, they're not acting because they're feeling anxiety. But if they feel calm, cool, collected, knowing, wow, this guy's got his shit together, I want some of that, they react differently. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. I'm sorry I didn't give many of you chance to talk, but if anybody
Could
has
I add
something,
just one thing, Mike, quickly?
you bet.
I would, when I'm posting my links or any kind of a post about gifts, I don't limit it to just these winter holidays. I say something like the winter holidays and gift giving all year round, because there's time in different communities, they have different customs. In our
True.
communities, it's the winter time where we have weddings. All the time we're having baby gifts. and any kind of a celebration, any kind of a family celebration is a time to give a gift.
Good point. Very good point. Good point. Very good point.
The Black Friday thing is not all year round, but you know, say something about Black Friday specials and for all year round.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Thank you. All right, guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Good topic, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you.
As always.
Thank you.
As always.